try out this new fun feature, which I'm about to share with you and Becca. If you want to access this link, it should maybe be the chat. If anybody decides to actually send a message, if nobody sends a message, it'll probably look like a blank white tab.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Fun.
I wasn't sure if that was yay, blank white tab.
Yeah, blank white. Also, I saw it, so it checked out.
Oh yay. So neutral. Oh god. What am I doing with my life? I'll do this. I'll send a test message and see if it overlays. Oh, it did. That's cool. Awesome. And what did Desiree? She just messaged me something on Facebook right now. It is probably, she's very nice. I've grown to expect that she is like running late to this mic, but she still reminds me every time, which I think is very sweet. It's very endearing. Also, I'm really excited because she is reading Educated, which I recommended when she did a set at the TB&J open mic. I don't know if either of you have read it. Educated by Tara Westover.
No.
It's so good. Oh my god. And it's an autobiography. It's a nonfiction.
Oh.
It's this woman who was raised in like Mormon cultist like Midwest.
Oh shit.
And was homeschooled, was never actually schooled, but taught herself enough to take the SATs and ended up like her first formal schooling was in college. And
oh wow.
It was crazy. Yeah. She like the main scene from the book that she normally uses on like her talks to like advertises like, yeah, I just like had this moment in college where they were going through this history lesson and I asked, you know, what is that word? And they're like, how do you not know what that word is? But like the word was like she had never been taught about the Holocaust. And I'm like,
oh, fuck.
wow, that is the steepest learning curve I've ever heard. For those of you just tuning in, we're talking about Educated by Tara Westover. It's a novel. Very
This
good.
is a book club.
Honestly, I tried to make that happen for so long. We had a couple of times where we were like aiming to do book clubs about comedians. Like we were going to do the what's it called?
Steve Martin
This Is Why
book,
You
probably.
Can't Say by Judy Gold.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Like, you know, some progressive
The classics.
ones. There was one by TJ and Dave, if you're into the improv scene at all, which I thought was still applicable, but it was improvising at the speed of life, and we were gonna do that.
I heard about that one, yeah.
Yeah. So either way, I don't know if I don't see any questions rolled in, so I'm gonna pull this text away, which you can't see because it's for the stream only. But go ahead and spotlight myself, and normally during this talk, half our participants tune in. We almost had a full room today. So I am excited to see.
Thanks, Delta variant.
Thanks, Delta variant. I make the
how
joke.
Are you,
it's very dark.
How are you guys getting on over there? I'm sorry.
Really poorly. And that's mostly because half of us are still taking it seriously, and half of us still are like not making it a problem.
Yeah. I don't know what's like. I don't know what's happening in America. There's always something happening over there.
I mean, you guys are about to close your borders to us again because we can't get it under control.
We really
I know
can't.
It's not me. I'm not making the decisions, but.
And did you all hear about take 3 of Corona? There's like a new variant that's coming out after Delta. Oh, they're like, we don't know how it mutated so quickly, and I'm like, just crying in my closet alone while I do comedy shows. But you know, it is what it is.
Wasn't the whole point of the vaccine that they could tweak it to update it to hit for new variants?
Yeah, I also think that like I'm subject to like a lot of like, you know, the algorithm knows that I will respond more emotionally to things that I am panicked about. So I'm sure it's biased.
But I remember reading something about how the new type of vaccines that you can actually change it. They can be changed, you know, to just update them to whatever new kind of strains or whatever. In theory,
I mean, the vaccine, basically how we got it was like updating a vaccine that already existed. That's how we got it so fast.
So
all my
fast.
science knowledge. But we should probably, Tom, we're live right now, right?
Yeah, we've been live for a while. We've been live.
Okay. Sorry. Cool.
No, I mean, it is 8:32. I was trying to see if like more people were gonna roll in. But I'll go ahead and spotlight myself, and we will start the formal broadcast. Ayo! Yeah, we're talking about Educated by Tara Westover. We're talking about maybe a new variant for Corona. All of it is, the things you would expect from a comedy show. But hello, and welcome to tonight's episode of Too Funny Feedback. My name is Tom, and co-hosting the show with me tonight is the lovely, the fantastic Rebecca Bollinger. Tonight, each of our comedians will be performing a 5-minute set. If you want to keep track of your time, be sure to switch to gallery view while you are speaking. I will be, I'll just do a little demonstration real quick. I will be changing my camera so that I am a countdown timer. Oh, wow, look at that. It's Sad Clock. Oh my God.
High tech.
Nonetheless, yeah, so after your set, Becca and I will give you some feedback. I'm going to focus on writing, and she's going to focus on your performance and delivery with her lovely acting background. And while we invite discussion during your allotted time, we are close to full with the room tonight. So if we don't have the time to touch on something you want us to touch on, just, let us know, and we'll be happy to go into more depth after hours, after the show. But to our audience, that's it for comedians. To our audience, keep in mind that as we get started, our intention is to help facilitate the growth of these comedians who come to us with varying levels of experience. Also, comedy is subjective, and you may not agree with everything that we say, and that is okay. And we are also we are also open to learning how to give good feedback. Additionally, if you enjoy the show, please feel free to support the stream with a donation of any size. You can do that at districtcomedy.io. Again, that's districtcomedy.io. And with that, we're going to get this party started. We're going to do that with the fantastic, the maybe Irish, maybe German, because he's been in Berlin for a while, the maybe, not maybe, always hilarious, John O'Keefe.
Thank you, Tom. Hello, everybody. How are we doing? Are you well?
Well,
fantastic.
Oh, good stuff. You know, it's interesting you said I might be, because it's interesting you said that, because the other day a man told me I look like a poor man's Michael Fassbender, which I think is the greatest compliment of my life. He meant it as an insult. To me, it was a compliment. I was very content with that. And he's half German, half Irish. So look at you, Tom. You're a genius. I just came back from Edinburgh. It's hard being, because I quit. I don't drink anymore, which is weird being Irish, because I thought I was protecting my liver, but I'm really just upsetting people in bars. They don't like it. They don't like it, especially Americans. And I am being judgmental here. Americans seem to expect a certain type of Irishman. Americans are always like, John, how can you be Irish and not drink? And I'm like, well, it's kind of like how you're an American, but not addicted to OxyContin. It's all things are possible if you believe in Jesus as your Lord and Savior. I was a bad drunk, though. I mean, everyone's different. I was a bad drunk. I used to have to go on an apology tour around once a month, which I don't recommend, generally speaking. I'd have to be like, oh, God, I'm sorry. Oh, can't believe I peed on the sink. And then on your baby, oh God, I'm sorry, I can't believe I left that condom in your mother. The usual. We've all been there after a party. I remember that one time I just started going out with my girlfriend, and she went to bed, and I was very drunk, so I went down. I was going to try and be amorous, frisky, and I got into bed very drunk. Got into bed, and I started cuddling into her and started, the whole shit. Only problem, not my girlfriend, was actually my father. My dad. So what had happened was I got very drunk. I got into the wrong bed. I didn't notice straight away because my dad's got great tits as well. So I didn't, the next day he was so angry at me. I got up and he was eating cereal, and he was just looking at me, and I got up very happy, and he was like, you don't remember, do you? And I was like, and then he was like, John, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I was like, daddy issues, I suppose, if I had to guess. What's interesting? I very, very, don't judge me, but very occasionally I still do drugs. Very occasionally. Do you know how weird it is to be doing MDMA in a bar under a table and then going up ordering a Heineken Zero? It's like, like, what is wrong with my life? This can't be normal. That'd be like if you occasionally 2 times your partner but refuse to watch porn. You're like, no, I could not do that to her laptop. I have integrity. But I remember I quit drinking in Edinburgh, Scotland at the Fringe Festival, which is like giving up anal in prison. I mean, it's like, good luck to you. But I'll never forget, I got up on stage in front of an all Scottish crowd, and I told them I just quit drinking. And an old grandmother in the front row went, "Good for you, pussy." So, I lost my street cred, but dead. You guys like porn? Yeah.
Hate it.
Adam, no one's giving me anything with that. I came across an amazing porn star the other day. His name was Nick Neversoft. Nick Neversoft. I was like, fucking hell, Nick. How much pressure are you trying to put on yourself? What about when you go to a christening? I mean, are you kidding? Would you like to hold the baby? Nick is just like, fuck, I better not, So Nick not welcome no more. And the other day, the way Adam will know this for sure. Like you get loads of messages on Facebook from bots pretending to be women. I came across a woman the other day messaged me. Her name was Maura Breedlove, and I was like, I think Maura and Nick should have a baby. Could be Nick Never. I don't know what I'm talking about. Speaking of babies, I'll finish on this. I recently had a niece, well, it's about a year ago now. And I went home to see my niece, and I didn't see her straight away, but I remember holding her in my arms, and my brother wasn't there. Obviously, he's very proud. And as he was walking in, I remember I was just looking down at the baby, and I couldn't get over the size of her head. And I don't worry, she's grown into it recently. But at the time, I was like, it looked like a pumpkin with a baby shoved in there. And again, don't worry, she's grown into it since. But I was like, what am I going to say to my brother? I thought of some positives. I was like, think of some positives, John. Think of some positives. Well, she'd never fall down a well. Could I say that? She'd never get lost in the sea of regular. She's grown into it since. Well, she'd never get lost in the sea of regular-headed babies. And then my brother walks over, and the first thing he said to me was, "John, I see you've met Cara." I was like, "I have." Oh, she's gorgeous. And he goes, "She's got some fat fucking head, hasn't she?" Anyway, that's all from me. Thanks,
Give it up for John O'Keefe, everybody. Woo, 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 woo. I'm gonna switch my camera back and get started. And I don't know why I spotlit myself, because we normally go to gallery view for the whole comments thing. So I'm gonna jump into it. So again, I'm trying to focus somewhat on writing stuff tonight. I feel like these categories tend to blend either way. Obviously, John, but I just want to commend you first of all for going into a somewhat more vulnerable topic at the top of your set, as far as you made it hilarious the entire way through, but at the end of the day, you were talking about your personal experience with alcoholism, which a lot of people, they tend to veer away from those more vulnerable topics. So that is great. The best part, I think, was the condoming your mother. That was just that was gold, because I felt oh, wow. Take this great, maybe vulnerable topic and turn it into a your mom joke. Yeah, let's do that. That being said, I will say that the one joke I was maybe not as much a fan of, which I'm a fan of your regular stuff, but the is giving up anal in prison analogy, and maybe that's just because I'm not a fan of jokes about gay anal rape. Maybe that's something specific to me. I know that it is very popular among people who maybe aren't part of the LGBTQ community to be ha, you got fucked in the ass in prison, it's a joke. But it wasn't quite my cup of tea. Nonetheless, after that was the wonderful game that you played with the variants of the porn star names, which I think coming out of the gate the actual name of Nick Neverhard, so strong. And I hope that is in fact real. By the way, slight plug, District Comedy does technically have an OnlyFans account with nothing posted to it, called Dick strict comedy. So just be sad, you don't have to check that out. Again, there's no content on there. But I really loved the Nick not welcome anymore. That was I think really fun, and maybe possibly like a place to expand if you wanted to like do the entire like cast and crew for some sort of porno. And then I don't know how you would incorporate this, but there was a joke that you made towards the end of your set that was on the premise of like everyone gets bot messages from like incredibly hot women, and I feel like there's room to explore and expand there. As far as like I feel like, you know, sometimes Facebook doesn't know me at all when I'm getting like these unsolicited messages from these hot bot women, and it's like you are not hitting your target audience right now. Like this is not for you. But like nonetheless, I thought that what you did with it was strong. I just think that like you found such a fun game that would be really great to see what other ways you can bring that in, and like other people who maybe get these messages that you wouldn't necessarily think they would. But that's it from me. Give it up for Megabolger. Whoa.
Give it up for me. I haven't done anything yet.
Yeah.
John, it always a joy. I loved like hearing the Nick Neversoft like come back and just like feel it just kind of get like a little bit crisper and stuff. You've been doing some really, really good work with it. So the suggestions that I have for you, there were like two instances where like the way that you deliver comedy, which I love and like do not change, but you talk kind of fast, and you sometimes kind of like go down into like these like you kind of talk and then you kind of like let it go down and everything, and then you're like, I don't know, but then you kind of come back up. That's kind of like your inflection style, and that's great. But I think that there were two jokes that when you were giving kind of like the setup for your joke, I kind of missed some like needed exposition. So I just wanted to kind of point out to you two jokes that you had. First of all, the father like getting into bed with him. I don't know if you mentioned it, if I missed it, or like if it doesn't already exist, because it's like I need you to say this is a 100% true story, because like it sounds so wild that I was immediately like, that didn't happen. But if you set it up with like, guys, I did this crazy thing, and then when you reveal that it's your dad, I think it'll get a bigger laugh, because we're like, that actually happened.
Oh, so you mean like, so if I'm like, I shouldn't have done this, but then I went into my girlfriend and woke her up, and then kind of like, you know, the way girlfriends get so, you know, cause something like that, you know, and then just direct it when I say it's I think that'll work well, actually.
Yeah. And I think that you could also like even like set it up of like, I have a confession to make. I'm so embarrassed about this. Like you're telling an embarrassing story. I think by doing that and just kind of like cringing, showing like the emotional truth behind it, I think will make it more, like, we'll be with you imagining ourselves getting into bed. I don't even want to say it, with our dad.
Yeah, I might get a few more jokes before the kind of reveal as well.
Yeah, and it's just like we'll cringe that much more with you. I think if you really set it up, we are believing every single thing.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like it's already bad, and then you kind of then the pullback is like it's even worse than you thought.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other thing in terms of like exposition that I missed is just making sure when you're talking about your brother's baby, just like you're doing this big inflection, like you're doing like your typical inflections up and down, and that's great and awesome. But just make sure that you have a moment just to say, her head is huge.
Yeah.
Because I missed that, and then you're going, you're like, well, she won't fall down a well. That was amazing. Yeah. I encourage you to find like two other things that like her head would like is a compliment of having a big head, because that's such a funny image. But yeah, just making sure when you're setting up the exposition that we hear her head is so big, because eventually I caught up.
Sure. I kind of rushed it a bit. I didn't have enough time really to do the bit properly, so I think I just flew through.
No worries.
Yeah, fair point.
The other suggestion I have in terms of delivery that I think will really like amp up the punchline, it was an earlier joke that you had about like I had to go and do like I had to go, what was it, like an apology parade or something once a
Yeah,
month?
apology tour.
Apology tour. I love it.
Mm.
What I loved when you were like, "Oh no, I'm so sorry, I peed in your sink." I think that you could, like, I would explore saying it like,
Mm.
"I am so sorry
Mm.
that I peed in
Yeah,
your
yeah.
sink." Like I am like, and then
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
do, but like the one about leaving the condom in your mother, like do that one as a throwaway because that was brilliant. It took us a second to catch up and it was great. But I think that it play with peeing in the sink and see what happens if you set it up like I am so sorry I hurt our friendship. Like set it up like that, but peeing in the sink. I'd be
Yeah.
curious to see if that gets a bigger laugh. But always a joy, John. Always a joy. Great job.
Cheers. Thank you,
Yeah!
folks.
Woo, 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 woo! Give it up one more time. This time, not for Becca, but for John. Woo!
Yeah!
Thank you.
Yes, 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 yes. All right. Next up on our set list. I'm really excited to have her back. I don't think I've actually gotten to, host her on the show before, even though I watch every episode. But this time will be my first time seeing her set firsthand. Give it up for Jen Pizzolo. Woo, 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 woo!
Thank you. Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Hell yeah!
Okay. Hi, my name is Jennifer, or if you're from New York, it's Jennifer. New York, we don't pronounce the R's at the end of our words. It's, I'd like a cup of water, I have to go to the doctor. And so my name growing up was Jennifer. And it wasn't until I was in about first grade that I knew my name had an R at the end. It ends with pho, very similar to the Vietnamese noodle soup. So you need to remember it that way. But I'm really fascinated by names. I'm fascinated when people are really specific about how they want you to say their name. And I get it with, of course, with another culture or if I'm in another country. But I think it's funny, like, for example, I met a woman and I said, "Oh, hi, it's nice to meet you, Andrea." And she was like, "Oh, it's Andrea." Whoa, I felt like a hillbilly. I felt so ashamed. And I was like, "Okay, Andrea, let's do a peanut butter and jelly sandwich." I apologize. If anyone is out there named Andrea or Andrea, it's not so much. I tease, but it's from jealousy. I wish that I had that kind of chutzpah and I came to California and I was like, "Hi everyone, my name's Jennifer." And "Oh, do you mean Jennifer?" I'm like, "No, I mean Jennifer. We're gonna go out and get some pho and we're gonna have a pho good time." That's what I wish. It's one of my things. I'm not confident as other women. I've never been. I'm not as confident as my appliances. I'm not. Alexa and Siri, they have so much more confidence than me. They demand respect. I tried to turn on Alexa the other day. First of all, I called her Siri for about a half hour and she wasn't. But I was putting her name at the wrong part of the sentence. I was saying, "Turn on classic rock, Alexa," and she was quiet. Like she would not answer me. And I was like, I need the confidence. I need that confidence. I need Alexa confidence. And I need Siri confidence too. You know, Siri is calm under any situation. You know, I am driving in the car and I'm missing exits and she's just like, "Rerouting in progress," you know. Still on the fastest destination possible. And like, I want to be Siri and Alexa. Is that weird? I want to be Alexa. It's where it's where I am in my life. They're young. I'm not young anymore. You know, no one my age is named Siri or Alexa. Have an appliance and you're going to name it something and it's my age, it's going to be Joan gonna be Betty, you know, it's like, Joan, how do I navigate me to my dentist? Give me a minute. I just sat down. You know, I guess it wouldn't work. You guys are all young. You need young and perky. And I'm just a little jealous of Alexa and Surrey, you know? Back to high school. I know they're these cute 20-year-olds. I mean, that's not high school. Okay. But okay, it's bringing me back to college. They're cute, and you know, their breasts are at the right latitude, and it's like they're definitely cheating with my boyfriend behind the stands of the football game. You know, it's a great relationship I have with them, but I thought about it and I was like, should we give them male names? You know, should we make them David? And that would trigger me I just got divorced recently, and that would not go well, you know. David telling me you don't know what you're doing, David. You have to clean up your dishes. So it would trigger me way too. But you know, just hope they don't keep going with this naming of appliances. First of all, I can't remember anyone's name. I'm too old. And you know, second of all, what is it going to be? The refrigerator next? You know, your crushed ice is ready. Oh, Nathaniel, shut up. And I don't know. But basically, my kids tell me I'm getting old, and it's true. I tell them, but you know, my opinion doesn't matter anymore. And I feel invisible. And they just say, did you say something? My point is, don't get old, all you beautiful people, and thank you for this time.
Give it up for Jen Pizzolo, everybody, especially because I totally fucked up the timer. Nonetheless, you know, we're all doing our best here. We're all doing our best. Let me turn back into a human. But yeah, I'll jump in again. I loved your set this week. I loved it so much. And the first thing I'm gonna do actually is I want to point out something that you did at the top of your set, which, whether conscious or unconscious, I thought was a very smart move, which was that, like, in, you know, these tight 5-minute sets, I often talk about the idea of bookending. You want to start and end with, like, a really strong joke. And you actually made a good point, I think, at the top, because the first joke you started with was both funny and it was a great lead into your background. Because again, I think that, like, one of the main jobs of, like, doing stand-up comedy is, like, yes, it's to be funny, but also, like, for however long your set is, you know, 20 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, for that amount of time, really your job is to make a connection with the audience and, like, really be their friend for 5 or 20 minutes, you know? And I think that the easiest way to do that is to start by, like, having a joke, and then the fact that it led into you being able to reveal something about that yourself made that connection so much smoother and so much easier. So just wanted to give you props for that, in case there's, like, aspiring comedians watching. You know, maybe sometimes look for this for the advice, and sometimes even after we stop streaming on the VODs. But I loved the way that you said "and" instead of "and," as kind of like a callback to the, like, recurring theme of the, you know, mispronunciations. I thought that, like, when you're talking about going to California and, you know, Jennifer versus Jennifer, I wonder if there's room, and this is maybe like a tag, it's not fully developed, like, take this premise, make it better, but, like, there's something to be said about, like, actually, no, it's not Jennifer. It's spelled Jennugh, like, Jennifer. Like, something, or, like, even, yeah, I don't know, go Slavic with it and add a nice on the end of it. Something nice and Georgian. But I also just, like, loved the whole premise. And, like, you didn't even acknowledge it, and maybe it wasn't intentional, but, like, I started cracking up at the, like, Jesus, our standards are so high now that, like, Alexa's considered an appliance. Like, Jesus, she can like literally listen in on my conversations and tell me what to buy. But that's still like equal to my toaster oven. So feel free to have fun with that. And just the whole premise of like my smart devices or my appliances have so much more confidence than me, I think is really fun. And like, if you are, I just assume like all comedians hate themselves on some level, and I'm probably projecting that. But if you have any self-deprecating bits, that may be like a good way to segue into them.
Okay.
Not that you have those. You're probably a very well-adjusted person, and I'm again projecting. Oh yeah, and then this is just like totally me, and this is probably very out of date and not relevant anymore, but I feel like it's like maybe don't know Alexa, but I'm a little bit Alexis, like maybe a Schitt's Creek reference. That was the main thing.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know. It's kind of out now. They got all the awards. They're done. But
They'll never be done.
and then the last thing I want to say, just because I thought it was a really happy mistake, the whole thing about the like, oh, you know, they're in their early 20s. Well, I guess that's not high school. I think you could really like take that as an opportunity to tag it with something like, I don't know, or maybe it depends on your high school. Like, I don't know. You have a lot of like people who are held back a lot of grades.
Yeah.
They're really dumb 20-year-olds, but super hot.
And like that is a note for that joke specifically, but in general, I think that like, you know, it's important to be like, take those moments of like a slip up and see if maybe you can turn it into a tag and maybe into like a fully fledged bit later on out. I think that like sometimes the best bits are the ones that like start off as an accident from that improv-y genuine place. And then I'll stop talking and give it to Becca. Give it up to Becca!
I didn't do anything yet. Okay, cool. It's great seeing you again, Jennifer. This was a really fun set. I'm impressed that you like came in with like a bunch of new material since last week. But I have some suggestions about like, because there's a lot of name jokes that you do. No, and that's not a problem. That's not a problem. It's part of the whole set. You're within the same topic, and I love it. There were two suggestions that I have for some of the names that you have, just kind of restructuring the punchline so maybe they hit a little bit more. And I mean, I don't know, like I would just experiment with them. So when you have your joke about like the refrigerator being named Nathaniel, I'm wondering if you could give the order to Nathaniel first, being like, Nathaniel, can you please crush my ice? And then Nathaniel going, I don't know what that means right now. And then you go, oh, screw you, Nathaniel. I think that can set it up a little bit more. I would experiment with that. I don't know if I'm right. We're learning how to give good feedback. The other thing that I loved your idea of like an appliance potentially being named after your ex-husband. Because I feel bad for anybody who dated an Alexa. Not talking to you. But like, just I was wondering if you could like follow a rule of three there. It doesn't really end like, but if you could just say like Steve or Joseph or Dave. Yeah. Oh my God, but not a Dave. Kind of list out some other things, because you land right on Dave and it felt a little too planned or like a little too scripted, so that maybe we'll just make it feel a little bit more conversational, a little bit more Alexis, and the entire time that this is just an opportunity, if you wanted to explore in adding a joke somewhere in there, is every time you said Alexa, my thing kept lighting up and I kept like looking over and I'm like, is she gonna buy my toilet paper? I don't know what's going on. And so like, I don't know if there's an opportunity there for you.
That's good, yeah.
Like, if you have an Echo Dot in your home.
I'm having trouble understanding.
And that's why she's not a comedian. Doesn't understand.
She doesn't get it. Just an opportunity there to acknowledge for those of us who might have an Amazon listening device in our home. Yeah, but that's what I wrote. I mean, this was like really, really fun stuff. Something I would explore is potentially working the second half of your set. I don't know if it was because maybe like the timer wasn't up and you were like, I don't know when I'm ending, but it felt like the energy kind of started to drop a little bit there. You felt a little bit more present and like a little bit more energetic earlier on, and then as you got further on into the set, it felt a little bit more like not tired, but just like it did not match the energy that you had, the excitement that you had at the beginning. So maybe just like working that second half of your set and then seeing how you can like get the energy back up with that. So that we can still just kind of stay with you, because you do have like this really awesome earnest energy and we're all rooting for you. It's very easy to. Yeah, great job. It was great seeing you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yay! Now give it up for Jen Pizzolo, everybody! And now our next comedian, I believe it is his first time on this mic. I'm really excited because he's coming in strong with the guitar. Give it up for Adam Macias. Woo, woo, woo,
Yes.
woo!
Thank you, guys. Thank you. I'm gonna play a song. The song is called "Where I Come From." It's about where I come from. If that's not. I'm from Northern California originally, a small town outside Sacramento called Roseville. And the reason why they call it Roseville is because you know how every rose has its thorns? Well, Roseville has a bunch of pricks. That's where I come from. It's your classic suburb where everyone has the same car, the same style of house, and the same amount of crushing debt. That's where I come from. Your neighbors can be very competitive in the suburbs. If you get a new car, your neighbor will get a better car. And if they get a pool, you'll get a bigger pool. And if you try to kiss your neighbor's wife, well, then your neighbor will get a divorce. That's where I come from. I grew up with a lot of rich kids. I wasn't as fortunate, but I knew growing up not as privileged would prepare me for the real world. And it did. I am completely prepared to eat the rich. That's where I can't wait to eat the rich come from. One kid I went to school with drove a Jaguar to school, if you can believe that, which is like such a huge flex for his parents. This is true. This is a true story. Which is like, okay, if you think about it, if that's what they're willing to spend money on for some piss-ass teenager, imagine what they would spend money on something they actually care about. That's where I come from. My hometown is pretty small and I'm mixed race. A lot of people would come up to me and ask, hey, where are you from? And what they really mean by that is, are you Jewish? According to 23andMe, only a little. That's where I come from. Because my hometown is mostly white, my grandfather never taught his kids Spanish. But we do still have the name, sorry, let me start that over again. Ooh, okay, where is the chord, where I come from? Okay, there it is, okay. Because my hometown is mostly white, my grandfather never taught his kids Spanish. He didn't want to be known as the Mexican family, but we still have the last name Macias and we're all a little brown. So now we're just known as the Mexican family that's just really bad at being Mexican. What a pinchin' pendejo! That's where I come. I always feel weird speaking Spanish. ¿Cómo se dice imposter syndrome? ¿Dónde vino? That's where I come from. I'm trying to make up for it. My wife is also a quarter Mexican, so when we have kids, our kids will be more Mexican than us, and also more profile. That's where I come from. It's the sad truth of the world, folks. All in all, I'm okay with my upbringing, but I feel like everyone is just okay with their upbringing. Like we all feel like it could be a little bit better, or it could have been a whole lot worse. Unless, of course, you drove a Jaguar to school. You don't have any feelings because you're a sociopath. That's where I come from. Thank you. Speaking of my hometown, you know, a lot of people in my hometown love Facebook. I don't use Facebook very much. I used to. So I feel like Facebook is kind of like that old friend from my hometown that I just really don't I don't keep in touch with anymore. But every time I go back, I'm like, oh, Facebook, what's going on, man? Hey, how you doing? I run into him at the grocery store. What's going on? Wait, hold on, Adam, real quick. Remember this picture of you putting a diaper on your head like 7 years ago? That shit was crazy. Didn't you get fired for this? Yeah, I did. Thank you. Thank you. So, Facebook, what's going on? Are you still hanging out with the old crew? Are you still hanging out with the high school friends? Oh, God, no. It's mostly Ben Shapiro and your dad. Okay. What a weird combination. Are you still trying to, like, help people get into dating relationships and stuff? Oh, no. That does not pay the bills. Okay, well, what are you doing these days? What are you doing these days? Well, I'm mostly dealing misinformation all across the nation, ruining the country, but hey, at least it's paying. Try some ivermectin and stick it in your rectum. It is for sheep, but not the sheep that take the injection. What the fuck? Facebook, you shouldn't be doing that. Facebook is the friend I would block on Facebook, is my point. Thank you. My name, that's where I come from. Thank you.
Give it up for Adam Macias, everybody. Woo, 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 woo. And I am Block. I am a man. There we go. Switching to gallery view. All right. Jesus, I fucking loved your set. So good, so refreshing.
Oh, thank you.
And again, like starting off strong with a great joke, as far as like something that brings us into the present is like making fun of the fact of, I'm gonna sing a song where I come from. It's about where we come from, like anytime you can get meta like that, I think like brings us into the now and like makes us like pay attention. So that's really good. Not that you need it because you're already doing a musical act, which is going to get our attention anyway. I thought that like it was full of, everything that I personally look for from comedy, and again, like it's subjective, but like I think that there was a little bit for everybody in there. Rose Thorn has a bunch of pricks. You get your puns in there. Eat the Rich, you get your anti-capitalist agenda in there, which is also I thought was a me thing, but apparently other people feel that way too. And I thought obviously it was really fun, the whole bit you had about the teenager showing up to school in a Jaguar. And the fact that you made it a callback later on, I think, was also a very smart move. I will also say, not to talk too much about myself while trying to give you feedback, but for reference, I am also a quarter Mexican. Which is like really weird. Like we don't.
Adam doesn't believe you. He was like, "Oh, wow."
Okay.
No.
This is the thing I do to prove it, is that technically my full name is Thomas Harold Beeler Edmondson Cortez y Garcia Pano de los Dardanelles en Campos Valle en Caso de Montes de Oca.
What? That is wild.
It is wild. Either way, I thought that your jokes about Mexican family, how bad at being Mexican we are, is like really fun, but also like kind of touches on like I think a lot of shared feelings people have there from being in multi-generational households, descending from immigrants, and just like the fun, like I don't know, I feel like we've all had that Spanish lesson where most of us know how to say como se dice, so when you ended it with imposter syndrome, like it made it that much better. Again, just like really loved it. That's the note about your callback, I already said that. Oh, I also wanted to take a second, because this is a more general note. Again, for everybody out there who's listening, Adam is a favorite to me, not as a fellow comedian necessarily, but as somebody who produces shows and like books shows. And the reason for that is anytime you can have a spin on your comedy act, like don't ever be worried about whether or not it's like shallow or whatever, because it's not like true stand-up. I feel like that's a recurring thing in the stand-up community. It's not. It's just as hard to do as regular comedy. Like everything that Adam is doing is like you're taking comedic timing and also trying to put comedic timing within an already like set measurement of music, which is like doubly hard. But as a producer, I respect it and I appreciate it, because when I have an entire show that is like straight stand up after straight stand up after straight stand up, the ability to be able to break up the normal rhythm of my show with a musical act is awesome. And it doesn't just have to go with musical acts. We have another comedian who has been on TBNJ a couple times named Paul Kilmer. He's like a comedian and a magician. You know, it's the same concept. If you have a special skill that you can incorporate into your comedy sometime, it's going to be really valuable. And honestly, no matter what the content, make you overall more bookable. So just wanted to like throw that out there. But
thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah,
thank
totally.
you so much.
And also, give it up for the star of the night, Rebecca Bollinger.
You know what? Give it up! Give it up! I've been working my ass off, okay? Oh, Adam, I'm so jealous of you. That was awesome.
Oh, thank you.
I wish I could write music. I can't, but I am in awe. It is really, really fun to listen to. And I love that, like, the concept. I was like, oh, this is gonna be, I'm worried that I'm not gonna be able to like hear the lyrics over Zoom if he's like singing a melody the whole time and everything, but the structure that you have where you're just like talking and then you sing the same phrase over and over again, that song structure I think was perfect for Zoom, for us to like hear those kinds of lyrics. So like excellent choice for the format that you're presenting in right now. I had like a couple of suggestions for your song of just so like something that you can maybe play with is like every once in a while when you're like you kind of got out of rhythm a little bit because you were trying to like read what was next, like if you could, I'm wondering if like you could make a bit of like because I can't read or something like that, of just acknowledging like I'm having trouble to get back into it, and like having something in your back pocket just to get us back into the rhythm of it. I wrote down, you don't have to take this, but I wrote down an idea of just when you talk about like you grew up, you learned to eat the rich. And like I said, I wrote down eat where I come from for the one after that. You don't have to take it. I just wrote it down.
I like that. That's fun.
I'm wondering if I loved when you kind of like broke and you became Facebook as a character and you're like, look at this photo of you with a diaper on your head. Didn't you get fired for that? It was great. I'm wondering if you could make the photo just a little bit more unflattering somehow. Just like, cause I was like, why would he get fired for a diaper on his head? And I'm sure if it's true, I'm sure there's a whole story behind it, but Can
I tell you the real story real quick?
I would love to hear the real story.
The real story is putting one of the a coworker's baby, like city thing, like toilet city thing on my head. Squatty potty sort of thing on my head. And it was like way grosser, and I was blacked out drunk.
Shit.
To a callback to John of like an apologies to her. But yeah, like so yeah. Oh, okay.
I mean,
but I just didn't know how to like say that the quickest way, you know. So
yeah, I wonder you could even just say like, is this a picture of you blackout drunk with a just throwing it in of just like you're wasted and doing that versus like, look, I'm being cute, because like if you're sober with a diaper on your head, you're like, is that a baby shower?
Diaper.
But I mean, it's an excellent example. So yeah, just to clarify the reason why you got fired a little bit more. But great job. I'm so jealous. I'm gonna try and write a song tonight, and I'm gonna send it to you. It's gonna be the worst thing you've ever heard.
Please do. Thank you so much.
Yeah, great job, Adam.
Thank you.
Woo, 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 woo. Awesome. Next up on our list for the night, we have the one, the only, the constantly killing it. She's amazing. She's fantastic. I just want to sing praises. She's such a delightful person. Give it up. I'll shut up now. Give it up for Amira Abul-Assad. Woo, 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 woo.
Thank you. How's everyone?
Great.
I don't care. This is about me. So I wear a wedding ring. I'm not married at all, but you know, you gotta dress for the job that you so desperately want. I have social anxiety, I'm single, and I'm too anxious to mingle. I I come from a strict family. I was all dolled up, ready to go out on a date. My dad was like, "Hey, you look like a whore. Take off that makeup." I'm like, thank you so much. But I'm not taking relationship advice from a guy with 4 divorces. Looks like you're the whore, Dad. The only guys that have been hitting on me are my creepy cousin and guys at open mics. My cousin was my safety, but then he got married. It's okay. I don't want to keep this last name anyway. It's too hard to pronounce. I don't drink, but I'm a lot of fun when I'm tired. So just get me some ZzzQuil and read me War and Peace. There's this guy hitting on me on Instagram. He was in Egypt, so I was like, let's just talk as friends since you're so far away. He's like, okay, but I wish I was born on your eyes so I can roll down your cheeks and die on your lips. LOL. Did you think that's less creepy? Like now you're casual. I'm like, out of all the poems you can steal from the internet, this is what you chose. So I decided to talk to him. I was like, I wish I was conceived in your nose so I can go down your esophagus and die in your heart like a blood clot. LOL. They actually like that. So we're getting married next weekend. I'm just kidding. I'm still lonely and desperate. So if you know anyone in Boston that's Muslim and fits my personality, that would be great. So I was going out with this guy that does Reiki. I'm like, what's Reiki? He's like, oh, when you transfer energy and you heal people, but you're not touching. Can you feel it? Not at all. But I went back to his place because I have low self-esteem. He's like, can you give me a hand job? I'm like, no, I come from a strict family. But how about a Reiki hand job? Can you feel it? He did not call back. Neither did the like 50 other first dates I've had this year. Maybe like I'm the problem, not everyone else. I'll find out on Monday when I have therapy, and Wednesday when I have my psychiatrist appointment, Thursday when I see my probation officer. So I was going out with this guy and things weren't working out, and I was like, let's just stay friends. And he's like, can we be friends with benefits? I was like, no, we're not my friend. No benefits. So I used to be suicidal, and it's probably because of all this dating, and I realized I should just take out the list I made when I was 7 and kill the people that made me this way. Laughing. I hit a new low. I got rejected by a depression study.
Oh no.
They said I was overqualified. So I was asking my dad where I can go on a date, and he was like, you guys can go to hell. I've been living in hell. I want to try somewhere new. My favorite part of the day is to play my dad's favorite song by Whitney Houston, and right when he gets into it, I just turn it off. And he's like, hey, why'd you do that? And I was like, how does it feel to have something you love get taken away? Like, when did I take anything away from you? Oh, let me get out my notebook. October 7, 1997. You took away my fourth mom with the divorce. She was my favorite. I was ready to go on this date, and I was wearing this tight shirt because I wanted it to go well. And my dad was like, you're putting a sweater on, right? It's too tight. I'm like, it doesn't really matter because if the date goes well, it's coming off. Am I right, Dad? My family supports me like an old bra. They just leave me hanging. I had a really romantic date. It was at the Macy's furniture department. Like, can we go somewhere, like a real date? He's like, sure. Do you want to go to the bedroom section? No, not really. I'm like, we have to go to the bridal section first, then the bedroom section. Thank you, guys.
Woo, 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 woo. Give it up for Amira Bouassad, everybody. Okay. And switch gallery and stop being a clock. That's the song. Look, me. Who am I? Adam Macias. No. We're gonna gonna jump right into it. Amira, you know, we always love you when you're on this show. I thought that like it was particularly well structured today, especially the stuff in the beginning. I thought that like everything was like flowing into the next thing. Oh, and I don't know if this was a tag or if it was planned, but I really liked the addition of "You're the whore, Dad." That was really fun for me, and I think that kind of like broke up maybe a little bit. You know, it could have gone a more serious direction, but that's for your TED Talk. This was a great way to do it. The more, one idea is I would love you to tag your bit where you end it with like, yeah, read me War and Peace, blah blah blah. Like maybe tag it with another like really obscure like serious novel that could put people to sleep. I put Anthology of Poems by Mary Ruefle, but like that could be something more, you know, accessible to the general public to be funny. But like in general, I thought that was like the pacing was such that it had the room for if you wanted to do one more tag or maybe a rule of threes, you could if you wanted to, just to get more mileage for an already good joke.
Do you like Tuesdays with Maury?
What was that?
Tuesdays with Maury, maybe?
Yeah, that would work too. Yes, it would. But I thought that like and you always have these in your set, but it was easily identifiable in your joke about like, yeah, you know, we're going back to his place because I have low self-esteem. Like, the throwaway of, like, your lead up into that and then, like, the talking about the low self-esteem. Because that, in and of itself, was really interesting because the thing that was the punchline about having low self-esteem was the punchline because of where it was in the structure of the joke, but also not a joke at all, and like maybe a serious statement was the vibe I was getting. And I just thought like, you know, that was fun and like something to acknowledge in comedy that like, you know, sometimes the truth is funny and like also just like a really interesting way to play with the whole setup punchline structure. But I had a question about the shortly after that joke, you had a statement about like, oh, is he gonna call me back? And I don't know if it was intentional, but there was something about the way that you said it tonight, where if you wanted to like, maybe it would be worth trying to make it kind of a meta pun, since callbacks are also something we do in comedy. I don't know, that would probably take you too far off of your topic, but if it gets restructured in a way where you want to like use it as a transition maybe into some other bits, that might be something to explore. I'll just put a pin in that until I can make that note make sense. But no, we're not Walmart friends, I thought was really strong. It still made me giggle. And okay, so you had the whole bit, which like again, similar to John's alcoholism, the fact that you're like willing to joke about like your suicide experience is, you know, very honorable, and I think that like it's awesome because the more you talk about it, the more like we bring those topics to awareness. And I actually didn't get what you said in the first part of that, as far as like the journal, you know, referring to like your parents being the ones who made you that way, and then at the end of the set, it didn't even matter that I got the first part of your set because you did a callback to the journal as far as like the divorce. Am I right, Dad? As far as like talking about things that I've loved that you've taken away from me. So I thought that that was like very fun and interesting as far as like a joke that I didn't catch the first part of. And again, that might also just have been because I like missed something because I was taking notes. But like when I heard the callback for it, it made me laugh for the callback, and also because I was like, oh, now that first thing makes sense. Because you know, us humans are simple, and it doesn't take stuff like that will make us laugh. But oh, and then finally, this is going back a little bit. I liked hell and the whole like, you know, let me try something new for once, I thought was fun, and a bit that I hadn't heard from you before that I thought was strong. So yeah, good job. And again, you know, I want to present the Academy Award for our next giver of notes and co-host of this show, Rebecca Bollinger. Woo, woo, woo!
Thank you so much. Thank you. I am so unqualified. And on that, I have Amira. It's always a joy. You have like these really awesome bits of just, and I think Tom has like already like said it, where you're just like, am I right, Dad? Or like you're just like, yeah, because of the divorce, where you just like you have these like extra bits to your punchlines that I think actually like get the biggest laughs and stuff. Like you have these like really good. I think I remember, was it Lisa or Tom? Was it you who recommended like Amira? Like
if it was good advice, it was me. If it was bad advice, it was Lisa. Okay,
then you definitely told Amira one time to explore improv, because you do have like this good like off the cuff vibe. It's Tom. And I mean, I just like you do have like that really good instinct that I just kind of wanted to like highlight and celebrate. I had a couple of suggestions just to maybe polish some of your jokes. So when you bring in your prop of just like when have I ever let you down, and you're like, oh, and then you brought in like the notebook, you kind of brought it in and said the joke at the same time. And I'm wondering if you wanted to play with the idea of just like, oh, 1997, and like having it like the prop kind of like land for a second, and maybe like having a look being like that. Nobody laughed, so clearly it doesn't work. So let's just throw that one on the floor. Forget it. I'm just gonna.
That's good. Don't forget to have like a little notebook that I do it with too, like if I'm going to a show. But yeah.
Oh, that'd be really funny. And just like. So I wanted to kind of touch on the one guy that from Egypt who says he wants to swim in your eyes and roll down your face and LOL. And your response to it is funny. I'm wondering if there is a way that you could get to your reply sooner. I'm forgetting the jokes that you have in between it, but I'm wondering if there's a way that you can reorganize that so we have the mirrored line of yours sooner, so that we can see the similarities between them before too much time has like passed.
So don't say like, oh, out of all the poems you can Google, don't say that. Because that's what I say in between. So I say his weird thing, and then I say, oh, like, that's not creepy, and now it's casual. And then I say, out of all the poems you can, like, Google, this, out of all the poems you can steal, this is the one you chose. So maybe cut that out to go.
No, I think that you could definitely keep that. I think that you established some exposition that might have been able to, like, reply. If you're like, I decided to kind of give this guy a chance. Instead, you could probably just simply say, so I replied, and just and then go into it. I would play with that just so that we can like have the mirrored lines closer together. And then when you are telling the guy, when you're reading what he said to you, I'm wondering, you do have this like really awesome Mitch Hedberg style where it is just kind of like you have like it's just like punchline. It's not like big and animated and stuff, and that's your style, and that's awesome. I'm wondering, just to kind of build up the contrast that leads to the LOL, if you could play with your inflection and make what he says, like that poem, like sound way more flowery, of just like drawing out your words a little bit more, and this and this and this, LOL. And seeing if you can like drive out that contrast of what he's saying a little bit more. And then I think that like that could also work a little bit more when you say yours, and it's like it leads into your heart, causing a blood clot. LOL. Like saying blood clot is a flowery in a flowery voice might polish it a little bit. But just something to experiment. But that's what I wrote down. I loved your haha cause divorce. I'm just gonna come back to that one again. It was great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Give it up for Amira, everybody! Woo, 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 woo. And up next and up last is our final comedian for the evening. You probably could have figured that since I said also up last. But she's funny, she's Canadian. Here she sometimes says things about Uncrustables. Give it up for the fantastic Desiree Walsh. Woo, 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 woo.
Hello, headlining the open mic. That's how you know you've made it, when you're headlining the open mic.
Back, Mike.
It is true I am Canadian. There's no joke there. It's more of a humble brag again, as we are slightly beating you at the Delta variant, America, but I am rooting for you, really I am. I think all of you know this except for maybe Adam. I am disabled, Adam. I use a wheelchair. You just can't see it because of Zoom, specifically Adam. Yeah, I can't walk. And it's one of the questions I get a lot as a woman in a wheelchair is, why are you alone? And usually my answer is because I'm not married and I don't have a cat.
Oh.
But also, like, people don't typically take an entourage to do, like, basic errands. Like, nobody's ever like, okay, listen, we're going to go out for dinner, and then we're going to hit the emergency room real quick, get the cyst drained. It'll be a good time. And no one's ever like, come on, guys, it's Saturday night. Let's do groceries. Come on, groceries. Come on, guys, groceries. For some reason, I'm a walkie in this bit. I don't understand why. This is how I think you walk, walkies. There's a lot of arm movements, which I mean, I've never done it myself, so I don't know how it works. But like, I don't really understand the arm movements, because isn't walking primarily with your legs? Walkies? Yeah. The other thing I find really hard to navigate as a woman in a wheelchair is healthcare. I often feel like I'm playing a game when I go to the doctor, where the prize is a pain-free existence. I recently asked my friend what word she used to get the doctor to consider taking her gallbladder out. Also, I'm not sure about anybody else in the room, but do you all turn into the most charismatic person when you are at the doctor? I am no, like, so much more charismatic when I am in mortal pain. Like, just, if I had half the charisma I had while having a gallbladder attack on stage, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be Whitney Cummings. That's right. I'd have 2 Netflix specials and a podcast that people listen to. Oh, one of my favorite things, being a person in a wheelchair, is when people say something's accessible, there's just one step up. Yeah, walkies. If I said there was one alligator in my swimming pool, would you swim in it? Recently I did that joke and a guy was like, depends on the size of the alligator. It's a big alligator. Its name is Larry. It has a backpack. You don't want to swim with Larry. God bless comedians who can do this drunk and high. I am slightly tired and I am struggling. Yeah, I had another joke, but I don't remember it. So I think I'm going to end it. Oh, I'll do this one. It's another one that my second city teacher was like, maybe don't do that. I don't get it. One of my favorite things to do was rock climb. And I know what you're thinking. And no, it's not a joke. I really do like it. But yes, you're right. I am really bad at it. Half my body is dead. But what I find really interesting is walkies always think I'm gonna be really good at it, and like I don't, like, people will stop to watch me rock climb and then be surprised when I can't get all the way up. Like, what did you expect? The first part of me rock climbing is asking where I put my cheese so I can get up the ladder or up the wall without having to put it down, followed by me asking somebody to put just lift my foot up a little bit onto the first step. Like I'm not a Paralympian. I carry cheese around. Yeah. Okay, I'm done.
Woo! Give it up for Desiree, everybody! Woo, 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 woo! Switching to gallery, give me a second. Now I'll stop being a clock. Yeah, we're adding verses to this. Adam's bobbing his head like he's gonna write the track for it. Here
It's
we
a
go.
banger.
Honestly,
Oh,
like,
you should. Sad
banger.
Clock remix.
if TB and J or Too Funny Feedback could get a theme song, I would die. But no, I want to start off with saying that, like, so slightly beating you all in healthcare with the Delta variant, I feel like is another one of those jokes where I get more out of it because I have heard your sets before and I know how the different variations of your set have gone. And that's good. Like, I am seeing you, like, take the same joke and you're adapting it for, like, whatever the more recent thing in the news is, which is, like, I haven't heard it before in, like, reference to, like, honestly, if you're seeing Desiree for the first time, you're missing out. You should watch her all the time. Like, it has literally been a race every time I see her between, like, you know, Canada, you know, was winning when we started, and then America was taking the lead, and now, you know, Canada's taking the lead again. And even if you wanted to, like, restructure the joke that way to, like, make it more apparent that it was, like, that kind of ongoing neck and neck race for, like, being a decent human and just getting the vaccine, like, feel free to. I thought that, like, not married and don't have a cat was one of those things where I was, like, laughing, because I relate, and I often feel like, you know, I am growing more and more every day into, like, a cat lady, and I was like, I hope also that that's not true, because I hope that, if not, I will give you a cat. I want you to have that.
I don't have a cat. I don't
Okay,
have. I
so-
would really like a cat.
I will not ship it in the same way that I shipped you Uncrustables, because that would be bad. There were no
No,
holes in that
no,
box,
yeah,
and it was
don't.
much too cold. But
Don't chip the cat in a crate with ice.
nonetheless, it was like one of those things again where, like, it was part of, like, getting into a theme which I feel like is a bit recurring in your comedy and that I love, which is, like, self-deprecating aspect. You know, that is something that everybody can relate to, and I feel like you do it in such a lighthearted way where you can, like, do self-deprecating stuff without having the challenge that other comedians have, which is making us feel sad. So good on you in your comedy, not making me feel sad.
Oh, good.
I also thought, for your bit that's like, Saturday night, let's do groceries. That again, because I've seen you do stuff before, I know that you have a bit about when you go to a grocery store and you're looking for cheese, and I thought there would be, like, potential there for, like, maybe using that as a transition into the being at the grocery store in a onesie in the middle of the night. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that could work.
I don't know, just like an idea. Like, I was, like, trying to link the cheese things in your set
Yeah,
together.
yeah,
Because again, it did kind of end with cheese too, where I want to put my cheese.
yeah.
But again, something that was, like, kind of sad but made me laugh a lot was Prize. Yeah, you know, is pain-free existence. And I also think that, like, it's very relatable, the idea of, like, we are all, I think, and maybe I'm just, like, speaking from my point of view and I think it's relatable, but it's actually just you and me. But, like, I also feel like I am more charismatic when I go to the doctors. If only because, like, oh my god, I'm in the room with the doctor. Like, I'm gonna try and seem educated too. So maybe, like, I don't know, because it's such a relatable topic, I wonder if there's, like, a way that we can explore that more and, like, spend longer on it. Because there's...
Okay.
Yeah. Moving on. I loved podcast parentheses. You didn't say parentheses. I put it in parentheses in my mind. Parentheses that people listen to. I feel like it is very much a meta joke and well appreciated as somebody in the comedian community where everybody has started their own podcast. And I think maybe there's even room for you to mention LITV for the one episode you were on.
Oh yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, maybe. Also, I think that, like, you had referenced maybe at some point, I don't know if it's like in the works or something down the road, but I think you had like the idea to do your own podcast at some point. So like if that is something that you end up doing, like makes this bit that much more relevant. Again, no pressure to start a whole podcast just for one bit.
I'm gonna do it.
I'll subscribe, but also no pressure. And the last thing I'll say, which is a bit heavier and I probably won't be great at articulating, but one of your final jokes was like, you know, how big is the alligator? Like that analogy I thought was like there is a bigger theme underneath that I need to reflect on and probably get back to you about. But like for me, that is like indicative of like an ongoing trend for like these logical fallacies that have somehow like been continually accepted as legitimate arguments. Like that is almost the same argument I hear for like you know, I own a gun because like if somebody comes onto my property, like I'm gonna take them down. Like no you fucking aren't. And if there's an alligator in the pool, you're also not gonna swim with them. Like you don't
Brooke said he'd swim with a baby alligator.
He's lying. He's a fucking liar, and he doesn't own a gun either.
If you're wondering who Brooks is, you should come to TV&J.
TV&J open mic this Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Same time. Not same time, but same place. sistercomedy.io. Anyway, that was my last note, and I think that, like, yeah, if you can find whatever that heavier theme is that I can't articulate, that I think is somewhere that could be, like, really, really, tangible for people. Anyway, give it up for the final appearance of our favorite, the one, the golden Rebecca Bollinger. Woo, woo, woo,
The one, the golden! No! Yes! It is I. Desiree, I just like your delivery just gets like stronger and stronger every time I hear it, and it's always just, it's so good. I love every time you trash talk walkies. It's just it's a joy. I think that's like my feedback term. It's a joy. It's such a joy. I need to find something else. I wanted to let you know that the first note I wrote down was when you were talking about, you were like, I turn into the most charismatic person when I go to the doctor. And I was writing down, turn into, name a charismatic person. And as I was writing it, you said Whitney Cummings, and I just crossed it out. I'm like, you did it. So I just wanted to celebrate you there, just like great instincts and everything. And maybe like you could maybe clarify it for me or something. When you say people love to ask me, why are you alone? I'm wondering if like you could say like, I'm in a store, like give yourself a location where you get asked that question versus like, cause like maybe it's like you're at home or something. I'm wondering if like it's just like you are just like minding your own business in a store and somebody just like says like, why are you alone? Do you need help? And just kind of like driving home that absurdity of the question.
Yeah. It's usually the hospital, the airport, and sometimes like actual retail stores. It's weird.
So like I'm wondering if like I could just be like, I'm in Target buying, or do they have Targets in Canada?
They don't, but we have Walmart.
Okay, great.
Target was kind of a failed experiment here in Canada.
Why
they
did not do so well. Target?
We don't.
I don't know. They moved them all in. They shut down all the Zellers and got the Targets, and then about 3 months later, they moved them all out.
I need to see a
this was a horrible mistake
on that stat.
Yeah.
I need that investigative journalism into that immediately. Fascinating. But yeah, so like maybe you're just like, I'm at the store like trying to buy like a denim jacket, and somebody's like, why are you alone? I don't know, just establishing that it's just like completely unprompted, unnecessary, and driving home the absurdity of the question a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, it's fine the way it is. It was just a suggestion that I had. But basically, your set was really, really good. I'm kind of grasping at straws here for feedback. So like,
how do I improve upon perfection?
Full transparency. The other thing that I wrote was like when you're talking about like when people are like thinking that you're gonna magically be good at rock climbing, I'm like wondering. I'm trying to like rack my brain for like a sports movie where you could be like, this isn't like I'm trying to think of
Like Rudy?
I've never seen that one.
Oh,
What's the one with the Jamaican bobsled team?
Cool Runnings.
Yeah, there we go. Was that what you were going for, Becca?
Maybe like it's just where it's just like it's not like a feel good sports movie. They're not gonna make one about me. This isn't like a what is it called again? What was the Jamaican one? The bobsled one again?
Cool Runnings.
Cool Runnings. This isn't a Cool Runnings situation. Okay. I think that could be like an opportunity just to kind of like pull on like that. It's funny that I can't
probably
think of
any of the Rockies. Sorry, I didn't mean.
Oh,
to
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, or even
That
like,
would work.
yeah, I wrote down because I don't watch a lot of sports movies, so like I wrote down Forrest Gump because I know that he's good at running, just like magically, but I don't know if that's the right one. But just like having like this isn't a sports movie situation to kind of like draw on like that's kind of like a trope that they make a lot of, and so like then like walkies have this Hollywood mindset that you can magically be good at it. So I don't have an example for you, but I thought it might be a good opportunity. Like if there is a movie, Cool Runnings could work for the
What I'm
people.
hearing is
Rocky.
Becca is inviting us to a sports movie marathon.
That would be
I've got
fun.
every single one. What do you want to hear? We've got Ice Princess. We've got A League of Their Own. Like
I like that movie.
I love A League of Their Own.
I died at Ice Princess.
But that's like really all I had. Once again, I'm really grasping at straws. It's just like it's a joy to watch like your set just get stronger and stronger. And I loved like hearing like your bit about becoming more charismatic at the doctor.
Office.
Like anyone else feel like that? And I'm like, I do put on like this. Oh, you? Can I have my Xanax, please? Vibe. So it's a very accurate observation. So yeah, great job.
Cool.
Thanks.
Give it up one more time for Desiree Walsh, everybody. I'm gonna spotlight myself, do a little outro, and here we go. Big thank you to my co-host Becca and to the comedians for being so open to feedback and for sharing their comedic joys and talents with us. And of course, for our awesome audience, I was looking at the chat. Nobody said anything, but I did see that there was one viewer. So, hey-oh, yeah, viral again.
We're number one.
Number one for one viewer. Anyway, if you want to support the stream, you can do so at districtcomedy.io. And if you want to be on the show, you can sign up using that same link. And see you next week. Have a good night. If you're like in the room, this is more personal life, and I can probably end the stream now. But I'm waiting on the next update of Genshin Impact to drop. So I'm not going to bed for another hour, so I'll probably leave the room open for anybody who wants it for a little bit afterwards. But nonetheless, for the stream, that's going to be it for tonight. If you want to hang out after, that's cool. But either way, have a good night. Wave, everybody!